Now, the Iraqi lawmakers say ISIL Takfiri militants have killed hundreds of army soldiers in a chemical gas attack in the country's Anbar province. The lawmakers say the militants used chlorine gas against an army battalion in the Saq-lawia district in the town of Fallujah. They say at least 300 soldiers were killed in that assault. It's not yet clear when the deadly incident took place. The Takfiri terrorists are responsible for numerous crimes against people and security forces in Iraq and Syria. Meanwhile, Iraqi army forces officials, that is, say at least 40 soldiers have been killed in clashes with the terrorists in the Sijir area in Anbar province. Officials say the terrorists have also captured nearly 70 other troopers who have likely been transferred to Fallujah.
Last week, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives voted 273 to 156 in favor of the so-called Train and Equipped Plan legislation. Legislation was later approved by the Senate, clearing the way for U.S. President Barack Obama to implement his strategy to weaken and eventually defeat the ISIL Takfiri militants. According to the plan, the Pentagon will train and arm 5,000 militants in Syria and has dedicated some $500 million for the project. The U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry has said that Saudi Arabia and Qatar, along with some other countries, will contribute $1 billion to train the militants in Syria. The names of some of these so-called moderate groups have now been revealed. The list includes Army of Mujahideen, Hazm Movement, and Ajnad al-Sham Islamic Union, among others. But these groups, which have been branded as moderate by the US and its allies, have committed atrocities that are not much different with crimes committed by the ISIL Takfiri militants in Iraq and Syria. The Army of Mujahideen, for instance, along with the Al-Nusra Front, has been involved in mass killings and abuse of Armenians in the Christian-majority town of Kasab in Syria's Latakia province. The Haz movement, which is operating in Idlib and Aleppo governorates, is involved in arming Al-Nusra Front and Islamic Front militants with anti-tank missiles which have been obtained from Western sources. Another group which has also been reportedly entitled to receive arm and training from the US and its supporters is Ajnad al-Sham Islamic Union. The group has been involved in killing of hundreds of Syrians in the capital Damascus by firing some 2,000 rockets. The US plan to train and arm these groups has even met opposition from Democrats like Senate Chris Murphy from Connecticut. The critics are raising concerns about arming and equipping the militants without being sure of the outcome. Analysts say the decision by the US to differentiate between the ISIL Takfiri insurgents and the so-called moderate militants in Syria is yet another case of dividing the terrorists into good ones versus bad ones. The plan has also been criticized as another case of Washington's support for terrorist groups that serve its interests. The CIA in 2012 trained the ISIL in a secret base in Jordan, but today views the group as its enemy. The militants, who are being described as moderate and entitled to receive US aid, could soon grow in power and may become as extreme as the ISIL.